All right, let's dive in. We're going to connect the dots on three huge fintech stories that honestly seem totally separate at first glance. But stick with me because together they show us the three critical battlefronts where the future of money is literally being fought. Let's do this. Regulators, regions, and robots. Yep, that's pretty much it. These are the three arenas where the future of financial tech is being hammered out right now. We've got a story for each one, so let's kick things off with the regulators. So, our first story. It's a bit of a cautionary tale, and it stars Ally Financial. This is a classic, textbook example of what happens when the whole move fast and break things culture of tech slams right into the brick wall of financial regulation. Okay, so this is the number that made everyone sit up and pay attention. $850,000. That's the fine that FINRA, think of them as the financial industry's internal police, slapped on Ally Invest Securities. Now you might be thinking, $850K? That's a drop in the bucket for a company that big. And you're not wrong, but it's why they got the fine that is the real story here. Get this. A failure to properly preserve over 22 million electronic records. I mean, we're talking about everything. Internal messages, trading decisions, fund transfers, the whole shebang. And this wasn't just some oopsie, a one-time thing. No, this was happening for 6 years. And you know what's kind of crazy? The reason behind it all was, well, it was kind of boring. This wasn't some big, dramatic corporate conspiracy. It was just a series of small, technical slip-ups. A few coding errors here, some tech glitches there, and this is the kicker, a single missing copying feature during a data migration. It just goes to show how these tiny little cracks in your tech foundation can cause a huge, expensive flood. So, what was the fallout? Well, when the regulators from FINRA and the SEC came knocking on the door, asking for documents, Ally just couldn't provide them. And not just once, 39 separate times. In the world of finance, that is a huge deal. It's basically like telling your teacher the dog ate your homework for 39 days straight. It just doesn't fly. And look, Ally is definitely not alone in this. Their $850,000 fine, it's practically pocket change compared to what's happening across the entire industry. Just in the last year, regulators have handed out over $1.5 billion in fines for basically the same thing. This is a massive, industry-wide crackdown. So the big takeaway here is pretty simple, right? For an industry that loves that whole move fast and break things mantra, well, the one thing you absolutely cannot break is the paper trail. Compliance isn't just some boring check-the-box exercise. It's literally survival infrastructure. Okay, so that's the regulation front. Now let's pivot to our second one, globalization. Because while some companies are getting all tangled up in the rules at home, others are playing a totally different game, a global one. And a perfect example of this is Ripple. And Ripple's strategy makes a ton of sense when you just look at the global map. In the US, regulators are still kind of scratching their heads, debating the very definition of a crypto asset. Meanwhile, you look at places like the Middle East, and they are rolling out the red carpet, practically begging blockchain companies to set up shop. That gap, that difference in approach, that's a huge opportunity. And Ripple is jumping on it. They've teamed up with Bahrain Fintech Bay to work on some really serious, grown-up stuff. We're talking cross-border payments, institutional crypto infrastructure, even testing out their new stablecoin, RLUSD. This isn't about hype, it's about building the actual plumbing for a new financial system. You have to see this move as part of a much bigger pivot for Ripple. They're trying to shed that old, rebellious, kind of meme coin energy from the early days. Now it's all about rebranding as a serious, buttoned-up, global finance company. It's like a rock band trading in their ripped jeans for suits and playing arenas instead of dive bars. And the lesson here is so important. If your entire product is the payment rails themselves, the very tracks that money runs on, you just can't afford to be stuck in one country. You have to think bigger. You have to be global. Okay, which brings us to our third and final front, the new frontier, automation. The robots, well, okay, AI to be more precise. And for this one, we're going to look at Affirm and their partnership with Google, because it gives us a really fascinating peek into where things might be headed. So the core tech here is something called the Agent Payments Protocol, or AP2 for short. What is that? Put simply, it's basically a common language that lets an AI agent, like a chatbot or your virtual assistant, go out and actually buy things on your behalf. I know, it sounds a little bit sci-fi, right? But think about it for a second. Remember when talking to your phone felt weird? Like really weird? Now, pretty much all of us do it every single day without even thinking about it. Hey, what's the weather? Give me directions to... Well, This is just the next step. We're about to go from a world where we talk to our phones to a world where our phones, through these AI agents, are talking and paying for us autonomously. And this is where Affirm's big play comes in. Their goal is to become the buy now, pay later brain inside this new automated world. They're not content just being a button on a checkout screen. They want to be the payment engine humming away inside your voice assistant, inside AI shopping bots, inside, well, any connected device you can think of. So what Affirm is really doing here is building something much bigger. This isn't just about pay later anymore, it's about building pay anywhere in a world where no human is even required to click a button. All right, let's zoom out and put all these pieces together. We've looked at 3 totally different stories, but when you see them side by side, they really paint a clear picture of the massive forces shaping fintech right now. So to recap, we had Ali getting put under the regulatory microscope, which tells us compliance tech is everything. Then we had Ripple expanding into Bahrain, which shows that a global strategy is the only way to go for payment rails. And finally, Affirm, butting up with Google, signaling that payments are moving into automated AI agents. It's really the perfect snapshot, isn't it? One got fined for breaking today's rules, one went global to find tomorrow's opportunities, and one got futuristic, building for a world run by robots. And that leaves us with this one big question, right? Because in this high-stakes game, these 3 fronts, regulation, globalization, and automation, are constantly pulling on each other. I mean, think about it. How does Affirm's AI stay compliant with rules that don't even exist yet? How does Ripple's global play work if different countries just can't agree on a rulebook? It's this constant push and pull. So, as fintech keeps evolving, who are you betting on to win out? The regulators, the globalists, or the robots? Definitely something to chew on.